first thing first is we gotta go to the forbidden locker room. And I call it forbidden because it always smells like ass in there. Like I get an instant headache every time I go in there. So I don't even need a pre-workout. That is a pre-workout. Just smell the air inside there. It smells like glory. Also, excuse me if I keep sneezing like this randomly. A lot of people are gonna think I'm corny as hell for this because my shirt's tucked in. But I'll tell you why, so you guys don't judge me. This shirt is too long. It comes too long. It's like a curved bottom. I don't do that no more, so I got this tucked in, all right? So don't judge me. No earphones today because I'm talking to you guys, so I gotta be here present. Today is a back and biceps day. I like to work out in the evenings usually because then for me, I get really tired after I work out and then I shower and then go to bed. If I use all my energy working out and then go to bed, I get way better quality of sleep. I just come to the gym to be healthy, to be honest. When I was in high school, I just come to the gym with a purpose, try to cure my insecurity of being underweight and scrawny. Nowadays, I just come here to be healthy, man, so I don't do anything crazy. Even for my warm-up, I just like to grab some fives or something, do some rotations to help my shoulders out so I don't tear anything or pull anything. So I don't do anything too crazy. A little stretching is better than no stretching at all. Am I right? I always start with pull-ups till failure. That's how I start my back days always. It's also a good way for me to gauge if I am making progress. Let's say day one, I do 10, right? And then 3 months later, I come back, first thing I do is pull-ups and then I'm doing 15. I can see that, okay, you know, I'm gaining strength over time. So it's a good way to like really just figure out your overall improvement in strength by doing simple body related exercises like that. So last time I did pull-ups is about a month ago. Honestly, this is a different problem with the job that I have and everything and learning how to improve my time management skills. I haven't been here, to be honest, in like the last month. So I don't know how many pull-ups I can do right now, but I think we're gonna aim for, let's call it 14. Okay, that's pretty good. 16. I'll take that. First thing I'm gonna do right now, lat pull downs. Okay, quick warm-up set here. All right. You know what's funny about lat pull downs? I weigh 130 pounds, and because I'm so light, I can do like 160, 180 on lat pull downs, but that's more than my own body weight. So then, when I go to do it, I have to like use gravity to like somehow like pull the weight down first, and then once my knees get like under the thing here, then I can actually do it. I can't, like, the struggle is to get it down first. All of my workouts, I do reverse pyramid. Like, I don't increase the weight over time. I do the opposite. I start at the highest weight possible, and then every set I go down in weight. I'll try 160. Before I used to be like, oh, we'll do, you know, 8 reps or whatever. I don't even count how many, like, I don't try and aim for a certain amount of reps. I do want to get like more than at least 6, you know? So when you do like low reps, if you're doing like 4 to 6 reps and that's all you can do, you're building more for strength. And then obviously higher reps, you're building more for like shape and just like the look of your muscle. But if I'm doing heavy weight here, in my head, like I'm gonna be aiming for like 6 to 8. And to me, that's like a healthy amount of reps. If I go any higher than that and I'm, you know, let's say I'm only doing like 3 or 4, then I probably reduce the weight a little bit. Once again, getting it down is the issue because it weighs more than me. Oh, there we go, coming down. Okay. I usually do about 3 exercises for each muscle group. So like for back, this is gonna be exercise number 1. Right after this, I'm gonna do rows. And then after rows, and I'll pick what I do next. Something with dumbbells, or maybe I'll do one of the machines. You know something's interesting about lat pull downs? And I'll show you on like a really light weight. Every exercise uses like 2 muscle groups, right? So when you're doing a lat pull down like the normal way, which is like this, where you're just pulling it down. If you do this, you're actually using a lot of your other muscles, not really your lats. To get your lats activated, you take your elbows and you push them in like this, and then you actually pull down like this with your elbows tucked in, and then you're activating your lats a lot more. So the before would be like this, where like my elbows are peeking backwards, and now I'm like doing a lot of my other muscle groups too, like in my back. And then if you do your elbows tucked outwards like this, now you're using a lot more of your lat. So whether your elbows tucked in or out changes if you're actually using your lat or your other muscles on your back. A lot of people do their elbows out because it's easier. But if you're trying to specifically get your lat, you want to do your elbows in. And you can even see it, like if I stand like this and I'm just standing like this, you can see my lat here versus like here, my lat's coming out more. Versus this, lat is in, lat out, lat in, lat out. And if my lat is out, then it's moving more. Small tip. I'm a big fan of busy gyms. I work out better if I see other people also being productive. I don't really like having a quiet or dead gym. I feel less motivated, less energy. Kind of like how people like busy city vibes and hectic cities because there's always something going on. That's how I like my gym environment. So we'll use this now. Same thing. I'm gonna go light first, just so I could feel out the weight, feel out the movement, and then I'll transition to heavier weight. Even with this, like, so there's so many different ways to do it. Like, you could go all the way in and then out, or you can just be like very strict motion like this and just go in and out. I feel like if you do this, then you're getting a much bigger stretch on your actual lats compared to just staying stiff like this. But both are good for different things. To me, I feel like gym is like 90% a mental workout than it is a physical workout. And I come here to feel mentally good, because if I feel mentally good, I do good everywhere else in my business and stuff like that. Obviously, going to the gym makes you feel like you did something productive, and it affects your hormones in a good way. So I don't really think about the physical thing. I think the physical aspect of going to the gym is like a bonus, if anything. So let's do set number 1 with 120. I've been gymming since high school, which would have been 2017, 18. Basically when I was 18 years old, so about 7 years. But when it first started, it was out of insecurity. I was just super scrawny and just wanted to get more confidence. Just to be totally frank, it was just because I wanted to feel more attractive to girls. How I'm gonna attract the girls that I find attractive if I'm not even on that same level for myself, you know? Like, you ultimately attract what you are, and that goes to like personality and looks. Like, you'll attract what you are in the world. And so if I wasn't in peak condition myself, how I'm gonna attract a peak condition of a female, right? So I was like, okay, I gotta get bigger, I gotta start working out, get healthy, start looking better myself. And so I started going to the gym and going crazy. Back then I was a demon, man. I was going every day for like 4 hours a day. For like 2 months straight, 7 days a week. But it was worth it. Like, I'd wake up at 2 a.m., take like a mass gainer, chug it, go back to sleep, wake up. You know, I was on that shit. Like, I was on a mission. After I kind of got over that phase, I was like happy with where I'm at progress-wise. I kind of started loosening up my habits. And fast forward to today, like, nowadays I don't even take protein shake. Like, I don't take supplements. I don't take pre-workout. I don't do any of that. Honestly, I just eat my regular food that I always eat. I come to the gym without pre-workout. I don't take any protein, and I just do my workouts 3 times a week, not with like a strict schedule even. Like, it takes me like 40 minutes to work out instead of 4 hours, you know, that's crazy. Insane, man. Like, I was in there wasting time, to be honest. Set number 2. And that's it. Before COVID, nobody used to wipe anything. Like, that wasn't the norm. That wasn't gym culture. Before COVID, these wipes didn't even exist. Like, the stations, they didn't exist. Before COVID, it was just like, you know, you work out, you're done, you leave, and like, it was much more normalized to leave that shit dusty and grimy. And that was like part of the workout. When you work out, you're using other people's sweat and grime, and you know, it fuels you. It's like part of war, man. I haven't done this in a long time. I used to do it every single back day. We're gonna do rear delts. Let's do it. I remember my old gym, everybody from my high school used to go there every single time, like talking. You see someone, you start talking. I'm like, bro, I just here to work out, man. Nowadays, because my job is just all talking, the last thing I want to do is talk again with like more people, you know? So like, I try to avoid talking as much as I can.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to your high school self?
I'd say the biggest thing, if I could have done something better in high school, was care less. I felt like I cared too much about what people thought, how people saw me, what their opinions were about me. Cared a lot about like clout and like the status in your school popularity rankings, you know what I mean? If I could go back, I'd tell myself not to care about that kind of shit because it's so irrelevant. Yeah, nothing in high school matters. It's all about what do you do after high school. One thing I love about the fact that I'm going to the gym right now is every time like I'm on the tail end of curing myself from being sick, going to the gym like heals me so much faster. I don't know what it is, but the gym is like my ultimate cure for if I'm sick. If I feel like shit, just like force myself, like discipline, like even if I don't feel good, just like force myself to go to the gym, and then I come back and I feel so good. The day after I wake up, I'm not sick. You know, as a realtor, like a real estate agent, being self-employed, you get to just like do things whenever you want, like at whatever time you want. You can make your own schedule, right? Today I'm here at 2 p.m. Tomorrow I can come at 11 a.m. or 7 p.m. Honestly, it's something I take for granted sometimes, how flexible it really is. I look around at all the people that are working out, I'm like, I wonder what their schedules are like, you know, like compared to mine, or like what they gotta do. bringing you guys to the gym with me right now, obviously, but you know, this is just like tackling my health pillar of my life. You know, I always look at my life in the frame of pillars, where like every single human on this planet has 5 main pillars of their life. So you have your health, which is what I'm doing right now, your wealth, your religion, which is your faith, your family, and your love life. And those 5 pillars that you have, you're constantly juggling between them to keep them as high as possible. And the goal is to keep all of your pillars maxed out 10 out of 10. And the moment you let go of one of them, they start slowly falling. And so it's just a juggling act of, you know, constantly cycling through and making sure they're all at peak condition. With things like the gym and my health pillar, like I like to always like reflect back on myself, like how are my pillars looking, like where my pillars are at, and see which one's kind of lacking, which one needs the most help. It's interesting because where I'm at in my life right now as a 25-year-old, I'll say like my pillars are pretty maxed out for the most part, from like where, and the only way to gauge if it's maxed out or not is basically personal preference. Like I can't decide whether your pillars are maxed out or not. That's for you to decide. Only you know, right? And for me, like I'm happy with where my pillars are. The only one that's like lacking is obviously like my love life. Even that's like something that'll just happen with time. I'm not one to go chasing for love. It'll just happen when it happens. So when you start looking at your life from that angle and you actually make that your main focus every time you wake up in the morning, you will improve your life so much more. Like you'll actually live with a purpose at that point, because now you're monitoring each of those pillars and seeing which one's lacking and then focus on that one accordingly. Really easy and effective way to do this is like before you go to bed every night, just make a to-do list for each of those pillars. What can you do for each of those pillars at the end of your day for your to-do list tomorrow morning, even if it's one small task, to make sure that that pillar is being taken care of, you know? And so like just for examples, let's say financially, your goal is, you know what, I'm gonna go look at my bank account, I'm gonna see what random subscriptions I have, I'm gonna cancel the ones that I don't use. Okay, that's a to-do list thing for your financial pillar. For religion, you know, okay, I'm gonna read my holy scripture, whatever that is, or I'm gonna pray 5 times a day tomorrow, you know. And then for your health pillar, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna eat healthier. For your family, you know, I'm gonna tell my mom I love her or whatever. You know, like add to-do list tasks for yourself every night for each of the pillars. And if you actually do them the day after, and you do this every single day, I promise you your life's gonna be 10 times better, and you're gonna be way more successful than you've ever been. Do that for like, I would say 90 days, your life's gonna be like flipped 180, way better. When did I learn that? I would say, honestly, like a year ago, not even that long ago. All of my pillars weren't really maximized. They're all just like kind of okay. And because I wasn't thinking of them consciously, and I was just subconsciously living my life, I was living without intention. And the moment you live without intention, you kind of lose purpose and fulfillment in the things that you're doing, and you start losing your why and your motivation. And that's when you start, you know, creeping onto things like depression and mental health issues and having like a mental crisis and, you know, wondering, why am I alive? What am I doing? Because you're not living with intention and you don't know why you're waking up every morning. Like what's the point of waking up at that point, you know? It's just bringing that to the forefront of my day was like super crucial. For my biceps, I'm really simple with it. I just grab some 25s, we just curl, that's it. We just curl. I don't even count my reps, I just kind of go till failure. For biceps, there's such a small muscle group. I just go until they're tired and I just do as much as I can. I just did that, and then after like 30 seconds, I'm gonna do that again, but not this motion. I'm gonna do hammerhead curls. Each different angle I carry the dumbbell is gonna hit a different part of my bicep, right? Because you have your long head, short head, shit like that. Even if you look at your bicep, it's interesting. Like if I do this and you flex, you see your bicep here. And if you do this, as soon as you twist your wrist, you can see it changes. That's just showing like which part of the bicep is actually contracting. And that all depends on how you hold the dumbbell, whether you hold it like this or whether you hold it like this. So it just depends on the angle of your wrist. Yeah, so this one's gonna be hammerheads. So that's it for my 25s. And then I'm gonna drop the weight. For these, they're called Zotman curls. When you do it reverse like this, and then it rotates down like this. So going up like this, instead of like this, like a traditional curl, it's called Zotman curl. It hits your forearm more. And then when I rotate it and I go down slowly like this, I'm doing negatives. So that does a lot of bicep tear. Super good for growth, I love that one. If people are needing to switch something up in their bicep workout, I'd definitely recommend that one. It feels very different. Yeah, you lift it up like this and you turn it around and go really slowly down like this. I think that's pretty much it for dumbbells though. And then next we're gonna go to kettlebells. Oh, I was gonna say, remember barbershop, I was gonna talk about this shirt. So Finite, this name right here, this was my brand that I had in 2018. This was my first company or first taste of entrepreneurship that I got when I was 18, and it was a clothing brand that was always like athleisure. And at that time, like, we were doing really good. Like we were selling out and stuff like that. We were hosting in-person events. My cousin and I were doing it and it was going crazy. And then unfortunately, COVID happened. Our supply chain got messed up. And that's when we kind of went bunk and had to stop. And then ever since then, we never actually picked it up again because life just moved on. But it's one of those things I always think about. And honestly, now that I make good money again and built the business that I have, one of the things I'm definitely gonna be doing is reviving this company once it makes sense with my cousin and going ham with it. Because honestly, it has so much potential. And it's crazy. Sometimes I still see people at the gym wearing it. The other day I saw this guy wearing it and I told him, hey man, where'd you get that shirt? And he was like, oh, I got it at this event like years ago. I was like, bro, guess what? I made that shirt. And he's like, what? It's great. And we took a picture. And back then he was like a little kid, like a high school kid. And now he's at UFC on the football team in Calgary. His name is Roy. That was so cool. It's such a nostalgic feeling of seeing that. I was like, holy shit. Like, and he's like, yeah, like I wear the shirt all the time. Like I love it. It still feels brand new. I was like, damn, man. We're putting out some good product. But the meaning of finite, it's on my lanyard too. Like I always have it. This is the logo. But you can see it's kind of like an infinity logo, but there's a little cut in it. And so what that essentially symbolizes is life is limited. Everything is limited and we have one life. And so we should live it to our fullest because life is very short. It's not unlimited, it's not infinite. The logo came about when I was in calculus class in grade 12 and they're talking about limits and stuff in math. And I was drawing on like graph paper and we're talking about finite and infinite. And then I ended up drawing this. I was like, huh, that's an interesting concept. But and then that's how the logo came to be. It's honestly something that I still live by. I'd say everything I do, even with like real estate and everything I do, I still live by this motto every day where everything is just finite. You know, my car is finite, the shirt is finite, I'm finite, we're all gonna die, everything, like nothing's gonna last forever. And so it's so important to just do everything to your fullest ability at all times. So now I'm gonna take a kettlebell. So normally like when you're curling, you know, you're doing your regular curls. But with kettlebells, I like to grab it because the grip is different because you're holding it like on a V angle like this. And instead of just doing this, I have my elbows out a little bit and then I do it like this. And once again, it makes it feel so different and it actually engages your core a lot too. It affects different muscle groups compared to just your bicep. Also a really good finisher if you want to change it up on your bicep workout. We just grab it just like this and then you come up.
Why you wasting my time? Getting hype on my line. Tell a man I don't want feedback, I just want relax. Brand new with two-tone, I need that brand new hit. You know, like lean back, brand new bits I live in. We back, man, you never...
It's tough, but it feels good. This is our first day of filming, first video ever. This is one of those things, like I feel like there's so many realtors that are successful realtors that aren't doing this, what I'm doing right now, but they should. And it's so underrated and I think it's so valuable to do this. Like hiring a cameraman, having them follow you around and just recording your life as a realtor. And this is just advice to other realtors that are making 20 to 50K or more every month. There's no reason whatsoever that you aren't, you know, you're not making these videos. Like you have the budget to go spend money on a cameraman to record your life and make content just to elevate your own personal brand. I don't know why they don't do that because like marketing is everything in our industry, especially nowadays with the way everything's changing. And it's such a cheap and effective way to build a personal brand that can be used for anything. Like just imagine if I do this for a year consistently, if I grow my channel, grow my personal brand, it's not just helping me in real estate, that's also gonna help me with any other business I ever pursue because that personal brand is gonna stick with me till the day I die. So it's probably the most invaluable thing you can spend your money on that I think every realtor is lacking. And I'll be honest, 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago when I came into this industry, I stirred up a lot of shit because I was one of the few that started doing house tour content on TikTok and stuff. Like in Edmonton now, every realtor and their dog does like house tours and stuff like that. But back then we were like pioneers. There was like 5 of us that was doing it. It was open fields and it was so crazy. And we built a massive brand so fast and we kind of rose to the top of the game really fast as like a new realtor. And now I see this as the next wave of like adapting trends of something that's unsaturated, untapped, but huge potential, huge upside. Hopefully I can be a pioneer again, keep that legacy going of what I'm trying to build here. That's a good question. Honestly, the biggest thing is the personal brand. So when I first went into real estate, it was out of desperation of how do I make money. That quite literally, that was it. I was broke. I was dead broke with student loans. I needed to come up with money fast because I needed to help my dad out with COVID business loans. And I had to figure out like what was I gonna do, how I was gonna make money. I was graduating with my finance degree. I didn't know what I was gonna do because I had jobs lined up, but the intro, like entry level salaries for a finance degree, like the jobs are paying like 60K, 50K a year starting. That is not enough. Like I need way more than that. And the only solution was to go commission. And real estate was the answer because it solved 2 problems for me. Number 1, commission, so there's no income salary cap. I can make as much money as I want to. But the second thing was I wasn't just selling bullshit, I was actually helping people. I wanted to do something where I was actually providing value for people. And so that's why like you could have said like, oh, why not go into car sales? Still selling, still commission. But in car sales is like very sleazy to me. Like I never want to be that guy that's selling like an $80,000 Cadillac to a guy making 40K a year. You know, like to me that's just like evil crime. Like I hate that kind of sleazy shit just so I can make a commission. Whereas in real estate, you know, I've helped families make more money. Like there's 2 clients I could think of, just 2 people that have bought so many houses with me. I probably made like 6 figures just off those 2 people. They keep coming back to me because I make them money. I make them buy stuff that makes them money, and so they come back to me over and over again. That's like the dream, when you're in a win-win environment where you're helping people and they're helping you and we're both getting rich. And so you don't find that very often, but in real estate you do get that. Once I solved problem one, which is I'm broke, how do I make money? That pushed me into 6 figures. Once I passed 6 figures, the problem shifted. I was like, okay, now I have money, what do I do next? And for me, the next problem was like, okay, how do I get to 7 figures? And this was a different issue because you can't do the same things you were doing at 6 figures and then go to 7 figures. You can brute force it, but it's not sustainable. To get to 7 figures, I need to now get systems, I need automation, I need to delegate, I need to hire staff, I need to actually build a business. And this is the problem, because a lot of people are good at sales, but they suck at business. So then they sell a lot of shit and they make 6 figures, but they don't know how to make $1 million. And so that's because they don't have the knowledge of building a business to then hit 7 figures. So now it's about hitting 7 figures, and the way I'm gonna do that is not only systems, not only hiring people, like for example a cameraman, but it's also marketing, and marketing is huge. And so building this personal brand is like the next chapter of that. So this year is all about personal brand. Let's see how many followers I can get. Let's see how much eyes I can get on me, because attention is monetizable. And so that's what I'm doing now, and that's the goal, is to build a brand. And then once I finish this, the next chapter, chapter 3, will be all about how do I give back? And so how do I then now, like let's say I'll be like 27 by the time I make it there, and that's what my timeline is. Once I'm 27, how do I help other people that were 23 like me do what I did and give back to those people that are trying to figure out the same way I am? That's kind of where I'm playing with my vision right now. But yeah, it's interesting, man. I've learned a lot of things on this journey so far. And I'll say the biggest thing of all is, and this is like pretty philosophical to say, I don't know if anybody here knows what Maslow's hierarchy is. It's a hierarchy, it's like a pyramid that shows every human's needs. And so this is just how humans operate as individual beings. And so on that hierarchy, the very first thing at the very bottom is your physiological needs. You know, as a human being, the first thing we require is shelter, food, water. How do we survive? Our physiological needs. Once we solve that, the next thing humans think about is their financial security, right? And then once you go past that, you start thinking about your social status, then you start thinking about your love life, and then you start thinking about self-actualization. It just goes up into different needs. And so once, I'd say most people in like North America are like at the second tier where they're trying to figure out financial security. And when you're in that stage, thinking about your financial security, because that's the most like stressful thing in your life, is, you know, living bill to bill. And think about it, like 40% of Canadians, if not more, are bill to bill. They break their leg, they can't pay their bills next month, you know? And that's a very scary position to be in. And when you're in that position, you're unable to think about anything fucking else. You're not able to think about, you know, your religion, your love life, and all this other stuff, because you're too focused on paying bills. For me, I've kind of surpassed that point where it's like, the financial part is kind of handled. I know how much money I can make and how easily I can make it. I can pay my bills quite easily. I'm not worried about it, so the headache's gone. And once that happens, once you reach a point where you're not worried about your financials anymore, you start thinking about the different things that matter to you. You stop thinking about numbers, you start thinking about, why am I alive? What am I doing? What's my purpose? You start self-actualizing. Start thinking about, how do I give back? You know, like, you start thinking about religion. What's the point of me waking up every day? And these are the things that make people scared, because they don't actually come to terms with it and start doing research. And I can quite honestly say, if I go back a year, now that I reached this point, I'm so much more religious now because I had the time to actually think about my existence and then search for God. That's huge. And I hope everybody gets an opportunity to get to that point, because that's when you actually start living with intention and a purpose. Until then, you're just living to survive. And surviving and living are two very different things. And I feel for everybody who's just trying to survive out here, but hopefully everybody's able to live, because it hits different when you live. There's one last thing, actually, I forgot. This is what I do always. I love to finish with one set of farmer walks. Not for any particular muscle group or anything. This is just for your core, just for your overall mind to muscle connection, just to find balance and feel literally 100% of your body. And so I take 245s and I quite literally just walk back and forth as many times as I can. And I try and maintain a steady core and balance. So I love farmer. It's also really good for grip, because you have to hold on as long as you can, right? So on Maslow's hierarchy, once you finish your financial needs and you climb up to the hierarchy onto your spiritual level, that's when you start thinking about the faith pillar of the 4 pillars I was or the 5 pillars I was mentioning earlier. The most important pillar out of the 5 pillars is the faith pillar, because when you find faith and follow whatever religion you choose to follow and you actually follow it to a T, a good religion will give you a blueprint on how to live your life. And if you follow that blueprint, you will be happy in life. And you'll notice a good religion is going to give you a blueprint that maximizes all your pillars and also helps you reach the very top of Maslow's hierarchy. And so the faith pillar is the number 1 pillar, and if you maximize that properly, every single one of your other pillars as well as your Maslow's hierarchy are going to be maxed out. And if you just remind yourself that every day and you live that way, I promise you're gonna make crazy progress in your life. As you can see, I'm lazy as hell and I did not change. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna shower and then change. I hate changing at the gym. I like to stink, but this is also the benefit of living close to my gym, you know? Like I'm not running around doing work with this shit on, but it goes 2 minutes. Yeah, so like I was gonna put my shit on, go home and then shower and change, and then I'll be fresh anyway and do what I gotta do after that.